Sounds good. There we go. So just shout out to Corinne and the whole Flowcode team for putting this together. Always amazing partners. So like she said, I am Courtnie. I'm the head of marketing here at Haven's Kitchen. I've been with the company for about 4.5, maybe about 4.5 years now. When I first started at Haven's Kitchen, we were in 14 Whole Food stores in the New York City area. So basically my job at that point was like to babysit every single pouch of sauce at every store and make sure that we sold as many as possible. My job has changed dramatically in the last 4.5 years. And prior to that, I was actually Haven's Kitchen's buyer at Fresh Direct. So most of my experience in the industry came from being on the retailer e-com side of things. For those of you who don't know, Fresh Direct was like, you know, the leader in e-com grocery in the Northeast for over 20 years. And just an amazing learning experience for me there. But now, you know, I'm at Haven's Kitchen and a really different side of the business being on the brand. And for those of you who don't know who Haven's Kitchen is, I won't take it personally. But we have a line of refrigerated sauces. Every single one of our sauces are all natural with no preservatives. You'll notice all of our flavors are globally inspired. And they're in these really cute little pouches that are incredibly sustainable compared to jars, which is very unique in this, in our category. Fundamentally, our mission from day one has been to provide bold and healthy flavor solutions to the modern home cook, because we fundamentally believe that you don't have to be a chef to make an amazing meal. You just need a couple of skill sets and a little bit of confidence, the right tools, and you can make anything delicious. And as a brand, we are on this mission to not just provide the product for you to use with the flavors, but also the skill set and the tools that you need to feel confident while making that meal.
I love it. And if you haven't tried Haven's Kitchen yet, highly recommend all their sauces. The red pepper romesco is my favorite.
That's a classic.
It's a classic. You can't go wrong.
Really can't.
Thank you, Courtnie. I'll just walk through. This is our high-level agenda. We'll discuss some of the CPG market challenges, addressing those challenges, how Haven's Kitchen has done it, and then additional use cases. And as I mentioned, that Q&A at the end. So feel free to write in any questions or, again, comments. We'll address all of them at the end.
No promise I can answer questions, FYI.
With me.
But I can totally hear them out and support you.
Yes, we're here. All right,
Awesome.
So one, CPG market.
So, yeah, the CPG market challenges that we face in the like particularly on the marketing side. These are only 4. Because if there were only 4 challenges, we'd probably be a lot less stressed out as marketers and we'd have a lot more successful brands out there. But between Corinne and I, we've identified 4 challenges that sort of apply to what we're talking about in the riveting world of QR codes. The first one is collecting first-party data while adhering to data privacy and ethics. So it's like a pretty loaded statement. But for me, it's like, okay, I'm a small brand. I don't have that much budget to, you know, collect a lot of data on my consumer. So how do I gather a lot of information with very little money and also adhere to this thing called data privacy and ethics that, like, for most of us, it goes over our head. And, you know, Corinne can speak to what a wonderful partner Flowcode is when it comes to that. It's one less thing that I have to worry about as a marketer. The second thing is understanding consumer expectations and their buying behavior patterns. So they're kind of connected. You know, you gather the data, you extract the insights, and, you know, learn more about your consumer. The third challenge is utilizing digital content to provide solutions. You'll notice a common theme among really successful big brands, legacy brands, is that they do a really great job at identifying what the consumer's problem is, and they provide a solution so that consumer ends up being the hero in their own story. And the fourth is creating a cohesive digital experience to actually support sales, which I think is like one of the biggest problems that most brands struggle with, right? We all want to have an amazing experience. And in the landscape these days, it's not just D2C or in store, it needs to be both.
Yeah. And I did see a question come in. What is CPG? And CPG stands for consumer packaged goods. Courtnie, you might have more background on what exactly it is, but it's essentially just goods in the supermarket or just ones where you would find them in packaging?
Packaging, exactly. That's a perfect explanation. Anything that you would find in packaging is a consumer packaged good.
There you go. All right, two, addressing these challenges. So we'll talk a little bit about how Haven's Kitchen has managed to address these, particularly using Flowcode. Courtnie has some other great insights as to how else they've addressed them. But if you have any questions, again, put them in the chat.
Yeah, so I try to get fancy and I have a low motions in here. So Corinne, can you click twice for me?
Yes.
So
you.
I know, right? I felt really tech savvy.
I love it.
So I think something that, we want to just keep in mind here is like, I'm coming from a really small brand with a, very limited resource. I'm on a tight budget, like most small brands are, and a relatively small team. So for me, it was really important to gather and learn gather information and learn as much as I could about my consumer, right? And I wanted to start simple and consistent. And so also just like background on me, pre-Pandy Wandy, Courtnie was like, QR code technology is dead. Honestly. And then obviously the Pandy Wandy hits. That's when I want to take the pandemic as lightly as possible.
Yeah, of course, we all do.
Hits,
yeah.
And obviously things change and, we had to pivot. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I was wrong. And like everybody else and their mother, they wanted to put QR codes on everything. Restaurants were using them, brands putting them on everything. And as a small brand, I really wanted to make sure that what this technology that we were going to be implementing was as effective as possible. And I resisted the urge that every marketer has when they're excited about something to put it on everything. And I put it only on our packaging, and we wanted to just gather and learn as much as possible. And we asked a lot of questions. So like, how many scans per month are we getting? How are they engaging with our brand? When are they engaging with our brand? And, again, I don't have a lot of resources. I don't have a ton of time. So I focused on very limited high level data that I would be able to look at month over month. So if you could click one more time, I'd like to enter things in so that we don't get, our eyes sort of go to it and we get distracted. So I'm looking high level month over month, quarter over quarter at very specific metrics. So how many people are actually scanning? How are they engaging with us? What are they clicking? And so, we have a really nice engagement rate. People they could click more, but they're clicking. And they're re-engaging with us, which I thought was, really, really good for us to know. And something that's not screenshot here or pictured here is the time of day that they're engaging with us. So we quickly learned that people are engaging with us around 6 to 7 p.m. on Sunday evenings. And we also have a wonderful partnership with Social Nature. We have a nice, robust email list where we were able to survey people to see how they were engaging with us and why. And it turns out, with the addition of this data through Flowcode, people are coming to us on Sundays around 6 p.m. so they can meal plan for the week. They're coming to our website for help to plan out their week. They have a couple of kids, they have some pets, they work all week. They're just trying to look for a little bit of help to take the pressure off of themselves that oh my God, now I have to put meals on the table for the entire week. How do I do that? And so now what do we do with that information? We want to provide solutions, and now we can sort of test and optimize. So we provide solutions through our content, which we'll talk about in a second. And we test and figure out what's working differently. So do we, put our secondary SKU below the fold to see if people are actually scrolling? And we notice when we put our second SKU below the fold, that's still our number 2 clicked item because people are actually looking. We learned that people are scanning the QR code on our packaging more than our corrugate, which is what you see pictured, the 6 pouches in that cardboard. That's what goes on the shelf. So for our next iteration of packaging, we're not going to have the QR code there. We're going to lead with branding, and then we're going to make our QR code even bigger on the back of our pouch. So that's like a fun way for us to take all of that information and extract as many insights as possible.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, Courtney, about having those separate codes on was it a corrugate you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the packaging itself. So then you could actually see how much engagement each is getting. You can do something similar with your marketing avenues so that you can see that engagement data and see which is most effective, so that, to your point, you can eliminate one and then just put your money into another one. So really great call out there.
And I think, like, for us, we're a really small brand, so we need the brand awareness and the brand recognition. Yeah. So why lead with the QR code on the front if nobody's really scanning it? And let's lead with our brand name so that our brand sticks out more than anything.
Yeah, great call out.
Awesome. So that last slide sort of touched on challenge 1 and 2. So I don't have data. I got the data, I gathered it, I extracted insights, I learned about my consumer, and like, now what, right? Well, how do I take my content, and how do I provide solutions in a cohesive experience, right? So what I first wanted to do was like remind myself what my business objectives were. And I do this with sorry, there was a bug. I do this with my team fairly often, is like, okay, pause, rewind. What are we actually working towards? And with the guidance of our founder, Allie, there were like 3 things that we really wanted to make sure. And if I don't lead with move more physical pouches at the store, my head of sales and strategy would like keel over, always sell, right? That's always number 1.
Of course.
Number 2 is like, I've also invested a ton of money in producing content. So I still want to drive people to my website, but I don't want them to buy there because shipping's the mother, right? And I want to drive more units at store. And I also don't have a ton of budget for email acquisition, for paid ads, to acquire emails through paid ads. So I still need to build my community. So there are 3 things that I sort of need to do simultaneously. And something that Flowcode offers, Corinne, please click.
Click.
Flowcode offers this really amazing feature that for me was like a no-brainer, low-hanging fruit, this pop-up for email and SMS. And so on every single QR code, we have on every single flow page, let me correct myself. Yes. Every single flow page, we have this email pop-up. And it was just again, a no-brainer for us. If you click one more time, Corinne, in the back half of last year, these QR codes or our flow pages drove 11,000 shoppers to our website. And we quickly learned that we have a 10% sign-up rate for everybody who scans our QR code, which is kind of amazing. You know, it's like, I'm not paying extra for this. This isn't a paid ad. It's just people scanning the QR code and putting their information. It's like, why not have this feature? If you don't have this feature on your flow pages, like, stop what you're doing and do it right after this webinar, do it, you know, because you're losing out. If you don't have an email list, you can acquire emails. And if you're trying to build your community, you can acquire emails. And this was just an amazing feature for us. And if you click one more time, and I want to just like mentally rewind for a second, revisit this journey. So they come to us at the shelf, right? They have a pouch in their hand and they scan. We'll talk about how we're driving people to the shelf in a second, but they scan the QR code and they either sign up or they don't, it's fine. But if they sign up and they purchase, we're going to follow up with them with these emails that are giving them inspiration on how to use their product. That you see right there, like our CRM manager, Maddie, really shout out to Mads. Her and our graphic designer, Bridget, have done an amazing job at creating these incredible email flows that are really personalized and just visually beautiful, that are super engaging. And so again, we know people are scanning to meal plan. So every Sunday night, we send out this meal plan email and we're giving them content that they are already looking for. And then the flip side, let's say they scan and they sign up and they don't purchase, that's okay also, but they're still going to get this engaging content that is super relevant. You know, this one was for Super Bowl. We're also sending emails on what's in season at the farmer's market and tips and tricks from Allie and how to cut a pepper the proper way. So we're sending them all of this content, and the expectation is that they're going to remember who we are. They're going to view us as a resource, and then they're going to come to us when they are ready to purchase. So we're thinking like long game when we see people, or when we're dealing with people who haven't purchased our product right away. So like the main takeaways here, QR codes for us drove a ton of traffic in the back half of the year. The email pop-up is driving community growth, and people are re-engaging with us as they're cooking at home. And Flowcode was we couldn't have done it without Flowcode.
I love to hear that.
I'm not getting paid to say this either.
No. But I love hearing about that re-engagement aspect because, I mentioned how much I love the Romesco. Maybe I have one idea of how I'm going to use it, but having this email sent to me, like air fryer Romesco cauli nuggets sound incredible. And having that inspiration is really what drives that re-engagement. So I love hearing how you're using it and how you're enabling your customers to really be champions in the kitchen.
Yeah. And like, it is helping us accomplish a lot of our marketing objectives that, just because we don't have an incredible, a huge budget, doesn't mean that we don't have marketing goals to hit. And, I always think back to Maddie, who she's listening, I saw her name pop up. When I first told her like, hey, I need you to grow our email sign up list by X percentage, but you have to do it with no money, with no paid ads. She was like, like the poor thing, like, and I was like, it's okay. We're gonna figure out how to do that using the tools that we do have. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Love it. And for those who aren't aware, this also is integration. So if you wanted to pipe this into Zapier, MailChimp, HubSpot, Klaviyo, Salesforce, we have a few, so that you don't have to worry about downloading that and putting it right into your CRM manually. It will automatically pipe in. So I think that's something that you use, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we use Klaviyo, and it automatically segments everybody who signs up through QR codes into their own segment, and they receive their own email flows. So we're speaking to them differently. People who are coming to us from the shelf through these QR codes need to be spoken to differently than people who are coming to us from a program through like Social Nature, for example, where it's a whole nother avenue. So we tailor all of our emails for the Flowcode user, or the people who are coming to us from the shelf.
Which is great. And I think personalization is also a big thing, especially in 2023, being able to have those different avenues and workflows is super important. So being able to segment out is really, really important.
Yeah. I see Anna Gabriela asks, is this part of the basic plan?
This is not part of the basic plan. So you can collect contact information with the basic plan, but you can't integrate. So each plan has different integrations available. Pro has MailChimp, Pro Plus is Zapier, and then Klaviyo, Salesforce, HubSpot is ProFlex and above, including Enterprise. So if you have any questions on what's included in which plans, you can follow up with me after this. But if to answer your basic question, it is at the basic level included in the basic plan.
Awesome. All right, what's next? Oh, big sales energy. So we recently onboarded a new head of sales and strategy, and he's like created this mantra for us, this BSE, right? Big sales energy, always selling sauce. And something that in my experience, I've learned over the years is we really need to meet consumers where we are. We're not a tech company. We don't have like a huge team that we can like build things to drive people. Like, we need to meet people where they already are, and like, why reinvent the wheel when they're already where we need them to be. And in this case, it is at the store. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see other ways that we're using QR codes at the store level. So this is an initiative that I'm really proud of, because it's just really fun to sort of watch it come to life. We had these suspicions, right? This gut feeling that if we had product in seafood and meat, we would sell more units. And through a lot of surveying and research, we tried this out, and it's true. When we have our product in meat, in seafood, in in produce through these secondary placements through our team at the store level. And then every single one of these secondary placements, we have a flow code. And more often than not, it leads to a flow page. And depending on what our objectives are, it can lead to a flow page that is informational, or it leads to recipes, or it leads to a coupon. Which on the next slide, you'll see we have two types of couponing initiatives. We have, if you go to the next slide.
Got it.
Two types of couponing initiatives. We have digital and physical. The physical are on the left-hand side. So they're these cute little yellow stickers that have a QR code for more information. And you open it up and it has a barcode for $1 or $2 off, whatever it is. We have your physical coupons, and on the back, it's a QR code. And then on the right-hand side, you see our digital couponing initiatives through our partnership with Aisle. If you don't know what Aisle is, it is basically a digital rebate program where you scan this QR code. They offer their own QR codes, but I'm like, you keep your QR code. I want Flowcode because I want to track everything. And they scan it, and it leads them to this landing page where they input their number, and all they have to do is text a picture of their receipt, and it will automatically refund them through PayPal or Venmo. So it's just like a really fun new way of getting people engaged with our brand. And then the next slide, this is more on the shelf. So you'll see this is a shelf talk. We call them shelf talkers. Mm-hmm. Some people call them wobblers or danglers. There are 1,000 words to call them, but basically it's just like a printed marketing collateral that talks about the brand or the product, and we have a QR code there that leads to, again, whatever our objectives are. It leads to a flow page with information. Obviously, that pop-up comes up first for the email acquisition, but basically we are driving trial, we are building retailers' basket, we're building repeat purchases. This is all really valuable information that we can then take to retailers to build our case, or just to better understand our consumer. And then the more recent initiatives that we're doing with QR codes on the next slide are our events. So here are two examples of in-person events that we've done. You'll see here on the left-hand side, we did a dinner for a retailer, and every single recipe that we created was on that QR code, and it sent them to a shopping list of how people can create wonderful recipes at their store, so for them to buy more product essentially. Or we hosted on the right-hand side a cooking class for a different retailer. We do the same thing with like if we have a influencer or a creator event, we have these QR codes. Again, building email acquisition, but also in a way for us to highlight our brand and what we offer. So it's a newer initiative, the in-person or events, but it's a fun one.
And I like that you have the don't worry, we only send you the good stuff. Like, I am not someone who signs up for marketing emails, but I am signed up for yours because they're so good. Like, I'm also such a foodie that I love receiving them. And also just having that messaging, I think it ties really well with the data and privacy. Like, you are voluntarily doing it. It's not being taken without your permission. So just another great call out there.
Thank you. Maddie, our CRM manager, would be really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So in summary, we use flow codes and flow pages, mostly flow pages, to be honest. But we use Flowcode in a plethora of different ways to fulfill different objectives. From everything from awareness on our packaging, we're going to be experimenting with like videos soon to support in-store velocity through those shelf talker secondary placements, couponing. We use them in our retention efforts. So customizable content, whether that's in-store or online, seasonally update. That's another thing, like a pet peeve of mine, or when people, like when brands put QR codes on things and then it's like a set it and forget it. Yep. It's a broken link or it's irrelevant content. I'd rather have fewer QR codes that are up to date and relevant than a bunch of them that mean nothing. And then we're also using it to build our community or to nurture our community. So we'll attach flow pages in our emails when we want to highlight anything that's not necessarily on our website, whether that's press or recipes, additional resources. We talk about our recycling or our recycling program on on some of the flow pages. So, we use them across the board, and they have become, one of our tactics, our important tactics in our marketing strategy.
Love it. We're not set it and forget it, people.
Nope. And that's all she wrote. That's what I got.
Love it. I do have one more slide on just data privacy. Thank you, Courtnie, for all that information, and for everyone for bearing with us. I know it's 12:30, but if you want to stick around for the Q&A at the end, we're almost done. But calling out our data privacy. So you'll notice that a lot of our codes have a few different things on them, but just to call out, all flow codes are GDPR, CCPA, and we just recently got SOC 2 compliant. So what those are, we'll go over those later, but they're all just different areas of compliancy and security. Our redirect service constantly monitors for fraudulent destination URLs, so you don't have to worry about any phishing scams or malicious content. We also allow people to opt out or request copies of information, how it's being handled, and request deletion of personal information. So we adhere to all of that. And additionally, just to know about consumers, 66% of them say they feel safer scanning a QR code with a privacy policy on it, which you'll notice all of ours do, no matter the plan type. Whether you're basic or enterprise, it's included in all of them so that people know their rights. And then here's just a breakdown of GDPR, CCPA, and SOC 2 compliance. GDPR is the European Union's digital privacy legislation, and then CCPA is the California Consumers Protection Act. And then SOC 2 was developed by the American Institute of CPAs, and it just bases it on the trust services criteria, which includes security, availability, processing, integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. So again, we're not taking any of your personally identifiable information at the point of scan. So you don't have to worry about anyone taking your name or other information without your cooperation or opt-in. But that's it. Here are just some additional use cases on how other CPG companies have used Flowcode. You can see that they're on commercials, they're on packaging, as Courtnie mentioned. They're used for events, advertising, most notably in Times Square, Avocados for Mexico used Flowcode in a recent activation, which was so exciting. And then just again, in the store on different products within it so that people can really engage with your brand and any content that you have, because we know content is king nowadays. And so many people are looking for those engaging videos, photos, ways that they can really be champions of your brand. But that's it. That's all we have for today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. I know that we had one and it says, Courtnie, why did you choose Flowcode as your QR provider?
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I've been with you guys for a while now.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly who. I spoke to a bunch of other QR code companies. I could not tell you the names of them because it's like I blocked it. But you ask around in the industry, you ask your network. I got a couple of recommendations, but at the time, Flowcode, from what in my research was ahead of the game. And they have a really great team, phenomenal customer service. So yeah, those are my reasons.
I love it. And we'll wait another minute or two if anyone has any lingering questions. But in the meantime, feel free to scan this code. It'll bring you to a page where you can enjoy a free trial of Pro or Pro Plus using the code campaign 1 month. You can also explore Haven's Kitchen. It'll link out to their Flow page so you can really engage with their content, follow them, engage with their materials, even sign up for that newsletter that we were talking about. And then we also have a Flowcode University certification, so you can get that and add it to your LinkedIn or any other valuable job assets that you might have. You can also join our community, sign up to be featured as our next campaign of the month. There are many options. I do have another question. Someone said content is always king. Very true. Do you have examples of flow code for service type businesses? Perhaps for future webinars, I'm opening up a waxing the city in Euless, Texas in about 12 weeks. Yes, we are used in a variety of industries, and you can find more use cases featured on our blog. So if you go to flowcode.com and go to resources, you should see all the industries that we're included in that also have use cases attached to them. So that'll give you some inspiration on how you can actually implement it in your daily business. And again, feel free to respond to our follow-up email with those questions if you're still a little bit confused or have any questions. Someone said, I'm glad I found Flowcode, was looking for an easy way to make my own QR codes, and Flowcode is really easy and fun. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate it. And we'll give it another minute or two before we hop off. But I really wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today, Courtnie. We are so happy to have Haven's Kitchen as one of our clients, and we love working with you. You are all amazing. So if you haven't checked out any of their products or tried any of their sauces, highly recommend.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for thinking.
Of course. And someone asked, will you send us the recording? Yes, this is all recorded and will be uploaded. So you'll get the recording and follow-up email by the end of the day.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.